So this video involves an approach into Springdale, Arkansas, the Alpha Sierra Golf ASG airport. This comes about 8 hours of flying into the day. I'm flying a 1978 A36 Bonanza with the IO550B engine, and I'm hand flying this approach using the Garmin GNS 430 WAS as my nav 1 on the right side there. Like I said, it's been a long day at this point, so this approach is far from perfect. We've been cruising all the way from New Mexico for this at this point, and we're just looking to get on the ground. When I started the approach, the ceilings were about 100 feet above minimums as last reported. Visibility was about a mile beyond minimums, and it turned out that it was pretty close. So I'm going to add a little bit of context here as we come down the approach, since unfortunately I don't have any way to record the cockpit audio at the moment. But as you can see on the HSI, there's actually a pretty substantial crosswind at this altitude. We're about 1,000 feet and some change above minimums at this point, so there's a major wind shift as we come down the approach, but I've got about 15 to 20 degrees of crab angle in right now. Typical approach profile for this airplane involves gear down, speed about 110 knots, and flaps up. I find that that generally is a very stable approach. It more or less stays on the glide path without any need to correct. Speaking of glide path, you can see it's starting to trend a little bit low. I got focused and fixated on something else. I lost the glide path, but you can see I'm starting to correct now, catch it back. And we're just coming back up on center now as I'm flying a little bit through the localizer, but I'm keeping it within that first dot. So for the most part, I was pretty happy about that. Coming down now, another couple hundred feet to minimums. You'll start to see intermittent ground contact as we get a little bit lower. There's starting to see the first bits of lights and breaking out on the approach. Now, if you look straight ahead, you'll see the pappies there, one white with 3 reds. That's accurate. You can see I'm just a tiny bit below the glide slope on the HSI. Originally, when I popped out of the clouds, I actually misidentified this road to the left as the runway, but within about a second or two, I realized that that was not, in fact, a runway. That's why it's very important to stay on the instruments as long as possible, all the way to minimums. So down we go on the approach. Starting to configure for the landing now. So at this point, we've got full flaps and gears down. I verified here one more time in the flare. Just take a quick look down. 3 greens, aiming for the 1,000 footers, and bingo. Not too bad for a long flight, and good way to end it. So this was my co-pilot's first experience in IMC as well. She'd never flown an approach before, and she's a medium-time private pilot. But thankfully she was able to experience this in a safe and controlled manner, with all ended well. So we had one more leg after this, but this was the major event of the day. So thanks for watching.